Welcome to the Parenting Power Podcast, supporting parents with the real-life tools they need to raise the confident, interdependent people the world needs. Gail Bell and Julie Friedman-Smith interview experts who share their knowledge to assist parents in creating a home environment where kids can thrive.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Reallife Parenting Podcast. This is Julie Friedman-Smith.
And I'm Gail Bell.
Today's podcast is brought to you by Beaner's Fun Cuts for Kids. Parenting is hard. Haircuts shouldn't be. Visit beanersfuncuts.com for a location near you. A mother of three, Susanne Williams loves occupational therapy because she is able to look at the whole child. She also describes herself as a brain nerd, having previously worked for many years in adult neurology. Currently, Susanne sees children of all ages through her private occupational therapy practice, Touchstone OT, and she provides early intervention OT services for preschool-aged children. We're looking forward to hearing what Susanne has to share with us today. Welcome, Susanne.
Thank you. Thanks so much for having me.
Susanne, perhaps you could just spend a minute explaining to our listeners exactly what an OT does.
For sure, because I think a lot of people aren't really aware when you say an occupational therapist, what really does that mean? So the scope of occupational therapy is actually very broad. And so today I'm just going to focus on pediatric OT. So we're university-educated professionals that focus on helping people achieve what we call skills for the job of living. So for children, that job is to play and to learn and to grow into functional, independent adults. So OTs help children to develop both fine and gross motor skills, as well as visual motor skills or eye-hand coordination. We look at kids with a really unique and holistic perspective with a strong focus on sensory integration. OTs also play a role in supporting kids and their families in everyday life skills such as feeding and toileting, with social skills, with regulating their bodies and their emotions, and with their learning needs at home and at school. And OTs support students with strategies to improve focus, attention, and organization for learning, and ever increasingly with stress and anxiety management.
Wow, so you're really involved in helping in a lot of different areas, and you have probably answers that parents are really wanting to know. They want to make a change, but they're just not really sure how to do it.
Yeah, we do take a really practical approach to helping kids and families, and it really does pay off because we often visit kids in their homes, and so parents are often involved in our sessions, or we'll go to preschools or schools where teachers can also be involved.
Susanne, what changes have you seen in your practice in the last 5 to 8 years with screens now being such a large part of kids' and parents' lives?
They really are, aren't they? And overall, I think that there are lots and lots of parents out there raising their kids exceptionally well and helping them to grow and develop. And I also think that some of them are starting to recognize the negative effects of screen time and setting better limits around it. Having said that, as OTs, we're also seeing some concerning trends, and the big one is a decline in motor skills in children, with weaker hands, poor core strength, poor coordination and posture. And we're seeing that due to less free and unstructured indoor and outdoor play in kids these days. And fine motor skills we find are on the decline because there's less play or manipulation of real toys and a bit too much finger swiping sometimes. The one thing I think parents should really know is that practicing on a screen is not practicing fine motor skills, and kids really need to climb and jump and explore and move their bodies and learn how to fall and get back up again and keep trying again and again. There's also a lot more structured activity now, of course, in a child's day, and therefore, obviously, less time available for free and imaginative play. So there really needs to be a balance to allow for free play, too. And another really important point that we're concerned about as OTs is that because kids are often spending more time alone and on screens, that we're seeing more children who are really struggling with self-regulation. So self-regulation allows kids to manage their emotions, their behavior, and movements as they go through their day. And they naturally learn to regulate with their peers through social connection. Essentially, kids regulate each other, and young children, of course, also rely on their parents to help them with this very important skill. So, for example, if two kids are engaged in some sort of rough and tumble play together, and one says to the other, "Oh, this is fun, let's keep playing," and their bodies naturally get excited. But then maybe one child has had enough and says, "Ouch," or "that hurts." So those two kids then learn together and see, "Oh, my friend is upset." So then they learn how to regulate, how to stop, and respect what their friend is saying. So that really is how they practice those skills. But of course, when they're alone and disconnected socially, kids from preschool all the way to high school age, I would say, arrive at school not always knowing how to regulate their bodies, their emotions, their behaviors with other people. And this becomes really challenging for them. Another trend that we're seeing in overparenting, which I'm sure you are familiar with, in some families has also really lessened a child's chances for learning how to fall, how to fail, and how to problem solve. And I've also seen a rise in some attachment issues more recently. Parents are now often so busy, stressed on their own phones or devices. I think adults are less connected socially too, and possibly struggling with job loss or their mental health. And of course, then they're less available for their kids. All of us who work with children and families are noticing an overall increase in stress and anxiety thanks to the economy, social media and its pressures, and this trickles down from parents to kids, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. Overall, we're all more distracted and are struggling more with our focus and attention. But having said that, I'm also feeling hopeful that some families are starting to move away from technology a bit more often and finding a better balance.
That's right, because that's really what it is all about, is the balance. And we know there's so many important times in a child's day. Julie and I are often reinforcing the importance of sleep. I heard very loud and clear from you the importance of moving your body in many different ways. That self-regulation, thank you for sharing that with us. It is such an important concept for parents to know about. Now, you have shared some really great real-life tips, and listening to you, I'm hearing it's just about looking at your day as a family and what are you doing when, because time is all we have, right? So you're not saying don't have screens, you're just saying how are you using them and when are you using them?
Absolutely.
What does the rest of your day look like? Right.
That's right. Yeah. Doing it all, everything in moderation, right? Absolutely.
So Susanne, what are some of those real life tips you can suggest for families to use to help in the development of their children's motor skills?
Well, we OTs are really big on using a multisensory approach to play. For example, with letter learning or early printing skills, we use lots of fun, hands-on tools like Play-Doh and foam and wooden sticks, sand, pipe cleaners, to really get the kids engaged and interested and to learn in a playful way. So really the biggest tip I could give is for parents to play with their kids. You know, you're never too old to play. You're your child's best teacher and model, from teaching your kids how to toilet train to being kind to strangers. That's really important, that parents understand that kids are always watching us and they want to be like us. So really my suggestions are, again, be playful, be active, go to the playground, get outside and explore. get dirty, play with real toys. So, for example, if you give your young child a doctor's kit to play with that so many kids at about age 3 and 4 love, maybe throw in a real stethoscope in there or something like that to really build their interest and curiosity. Play games like Follow the Leader and Simon Says to boost coordination and motor patterns. Have lots of fun with inexpensive art supplies. Have lots of those on hand around the house and encourage creativity and messy play. So draw and create together and really try to boost those skills in a fun way. Reading, of course, is so important. Read lots of books, and you can trace letters in books, starting at the top always, and with your fingers, with your child for early letter learning. You can play I Spy and hunt for letters in the car or at the grocery store. You can build letters together with Play-Doh and Lego, trace them in sand or with fun foam in the tub. And then another tip would be to try to offer tools for little kids in particular that fit their hands well. So we always recommend starting off with nothing fancy, just 1 or 2 inch broken crayon pieces to start with. And I find that so many of the crayons and markers that are marketed right now to young families are way too big for little hands. So that's something to keep in mind. Also, enjoy things around the house together, like baking and cooking, which is also great for little hands and for early number skills. Another important tip would be to teach kids to talk about their feelings, really by talking about yours in the moment. To model these feelings for kids, to name them, especially at times when your child or you are having some really big feelings of some kind. You know, again, just supporting that regulation piece that's so important. I often have families do yoga together, do some deep breathing, go for lots of outdoor walks for some early stress-busting practice, really, with our kids, which sadly is important for all of us these days.
So many great ideas, and I really appreciate the value you're putting on play, because I think that there is a feeling amongst many parents nowadays that there's so many things we have to teach our kids, and so we've got to get them in a class for learning how to ride their bike, and in a class for doing this, and in a class for doing that. And really, play is so vital. It teaches so many things, and it's fun. But I think parents sometimes think, well, play is a bit of a waste of time. And no, play is such a great use of time. And if as a parent you don't like crafts, but you love to kick a ball around, great. Then find what you love and share it with your child. And yeah, you can spend 10 minutes doing crafts, but really just being involved in that one-on-one connection with your child and giving them the opportunity to really dig in sounds so important.
Yeah. Absolutely, and said it so well there, that connection is so important. And connecting through play is such a great way to really be in the moment with your child. And they love learning things from us the most, right?
Right. So, Susanne, now we want to ask you a question as a mom of 3. We love to ask our guests to share a real-life parenting tool that they are using in their own families. Do you have one to share with us?
Well, I actually have 3. Is that okay?
Oh, fantastic.
My first one is something that I learned through you at Parenting Power way back when my kids were little, which is the family meeting and the importance of the family meeting for getting together, connecting, doing some pre-teaching or pre-planning, talking about rules and expectations and ideas together. That is something that we still do. In fact, I find now my teenagers are sometimes the ones that want to call the family meeting about something. So I think that is a fabulous tool. The other one obviously is an easy one in my mind, no phones or devices at meal times for obvious reasons. Those are such important times for connection. And the last one would be date nights, regular date nights for mom and dad. My husband and I booked these actually weekly for many, many years when our kids were little, and we still try to do it now as much as we can, but we had it scheduled when they were young, and we really feel that that was so good for our kids and also really good for us as parents.
Oh, we love all of those. Thank you so much. As you said, date night, I'm like, I need to make a date with Dave. I haven't done that recently, so thank you.
There you go. I think sometimes it's almost harder now. When we had to book a babysitter, we just did it. We had a standing Wednesday night babysitter. And now that the kids can be on their own, we have to work a little harder, I find, which is interesting too, isn't it?
Yeah, and lots more driving around too as the kids get older.
Well, that too, yes. Life is different as well. That's very true.
Susanne, thank you for sharing your information with us. So many real life tips that parents, after listening to this podcast, can go and do and know that they don't have to sign their kids up for a class, or they don't have to go and buy something special. In fact, get old crayons and break them, right? So it's
exactly. Save the boxes that the big toys come in, because I think all of us would say that the boxes are almost as much fun, maybe more, for little kids than the toys inside. So, yeah.
If listeners want to find out more about you, where is the best place for them to follow you?
They could contact me through my business email at Susanne@touchstoneot.com.
Well, Susanne, this has been such a joy. As Gail said, I think the two of us are just sitting here with gigantic smiles on our faces, because it's so much of just down-to-earth, real life, getting in the dirt with your kids and having fun. So thank you for sharing this information.
Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks again for inviting me to talk to you today.
We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of the Real Life Parenting Podcast. If you're looking for more real life parenting tools, then please sign up for our weekly Thoughtful Thursday email newsletter. It's free and it's really good. Just visit our website, parentingpower.ca, to subscribe. While you're there, check out our book, A Year of Intentional Parenting. Like this podcast, the book was created to help you feel confident, capable, and calm. Thanks so much for listening, and we look forward to connecting with you again right here every Monday.